Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're getting into something every beekeeper sees sooner or later, swarming. It's a pretty amazing natural event, but let's be real, for the person managing the hive, it can feel like a disaster.
So let's break this down. From the bee's point of view, swarming isn't a problem at all. In fact, it's a sign of success. It means the colony is healthy, it's thriving, and it's ready to reproduce. This is just how they make new bee families.
But, and this is the big but, what's great for the bees can be a huge headache for the beekeeper. You see, when a swarm leaves, you lose thousands of your bees, and usually your best egg layer, the old queen. That means the original hive is left weaker, and you can pretty much say goodbye to a big honey harvest from that colony.
All right, so here's what we're going to cover. We'll look at exactly what gets the bees buzzing about swarming, what signs they give you beforehand, and then we'll get into the really practical stuff, how you can actually manage this powerful instinct.
Okay, first things first, the causes. If you can understand what triggers the swarm, you're already halfway to preventing it. Bees don't just pack up and leave for no reason. There are some very specific things that push them to it.
So there are a bunch of potential triggers. Maybe the queen is getting old, or maybe it's just in their genetics to be a bit swarm happy. Even something as simple as a stuffy, poorly ventilated hive can contribute. But really, almost all of these reasons point to one big theme. They're running out of space, and there are too many bees with nothing to do.
And that right there is the absolute perfect storm for a swarm. The hive gets so packed that the queen literally has no more room to lay eggs. And at the same time, you've got this huge population of young nurse bees who don't have any baby bees to take care of. They get bored, they get restless, and that's when they start thinking about finding a new home.
Now here's the really cool part. The bees are not secretive about their plans, not at all. If you know what you're looking for, they give you some really clear warning signs way before they ever leave the hive.
The most obvious sign is just a total bee traffic jam. You open up your hive and it's just a wall of bees. They're covering every frame, spilling out everywhere. The queen has run out of real estate, there's no for rent sign anywhere for her to lay eggs, and that is a massive red flag.
And this is how you know they're serious. They aren't just leaving, they're training their replacements. When you start seeing these special peanut-shaped queen cells, it's a surefire sign. They're raising new queens to take over the old hive once the original queen and her crew have flown the coop. The good news is you can step in. There are some really straightforward techniques you can use to kind of press the pause button on that swarm impulse.
Basically, all of these methods are about tricking the colony into thinking, hey, maybe conditions aren't so bad after all. You can remove those new queen cells, give them more space by adding empty frames, or even improve the airflow. You can even pull a frame of baby bees out and give it to a weaker hive. It's all about managing their space and messing with their departure plans.
But, for those really strong, really determined hives, sometimes just delaying things isn't enough. We need to look at some more advanced strategies. You have to get out ahead of the problem.
And this is where you take control. If you know they're going to swarm, why not manage the process yourself? You can do what's called an artificial swarm, which is really just splitting one big, strong colony into two smaller ones. You're giving them what they want, reproduction, but you're doing it on your own terms. This can completely reset that swarming urge for the rest of the season.
But what if you don't want to make two hives out of one? Say there's a huge nectar flow coming, and you want that massive workforce to bring in the honey. Well, instead of splitting them sideways, you can expand upwards. You just give them more room to grow vertically.
A really classic way to do this is called the Demery method. You find the queen, you put a new box on top, and you move her and the frame she's on up to that top box. Then you put a queen excluder in between. This simple move totally fools the bees. It separates the queen from most of the baby bees, making them think they have a massive new home. It just kills that swarm impulse and gets everyone back to work.
And finally, here's a really simple but powerful long-term strategy. Just remember this old beekeeping saying, young queens just don't have the same urge to swarm. A colony with a strong first-year queen is far less likely to pack up and leave. So regularly replacing your older queens is one of the best prevention tools you have.
Which kind of brings us to a bigger question, doesn't it? Is our job to prevent swarming, or is it to manage it? At the end of the day, dealing with this is a core part of beekeeping. It's this constant dance between what we want, lots of honey, and the bee's most basic, powerful instinct to grow and multiply. It's really not about fighting nature, but learning how to work with it.